Good morning everyone, I hope we're all well. So this is the last day of my working week, so it's time to go home and then relax for a bit, upload this onto net and then off to bed. But anyway, right, so yeah, if you've unless you've been living under a tree, if you're into tech, you would have noticed yesterday in your recommendations box on your YouTube app that there was an absolute deluge of LG G7 videos, and it appears that the LG G7's gone down a bit like Oscar Pistorius turning up to your kid's water pistol fight. And I'm here to bring some balance to the argument. I could easily come in and start slating it left, right and centre, but people have already done that. I think the best video so far is Texter's one. It's a nicely balanced review without going over the top. The guy's had experience with LG devices, he knows what he's talking about. But then there are other videos which have gone completely over the top, completely unnecessary. And these are from people that I don't regard as people who I would go to as a trustworthy source to give me their opinion on a tech item that they haven't used. It's the most important thing. But here's my take on it. So anyway, LG is like the little underdog, isn't it? It's the sad guy that, you know, is trying hard to make something good, but you know, never really quite makes it. So it's fashionable then to, when they release something, when it's not up to standard, it's fashionable to go in both feet first and kick them while they're down. Now I get all the disappointment, I get why people feel like that. They could have learned from the LG G6, taken feedback from what people didn't like about that phone and improved on that. And I think they could have got away with making the same looking-ish phone and just refine that. But instead we've kind of got off on a bit of a curveball with this weird, you know, fake notch thing at the top of the display. It does look really, really odd. It's not a fake notch, it's an actual physical element of the phone. But as Texter quite rightly pointed out, it was a compromise feature on the iPhone because it was the first phone they'd made with an all-screen display. No actual bezels, it was right up to the edges of the frame. So the compromise was they had to build in the notch for the Face ID sensors and whatnot. So that's fine, you know, we've had to learn to live with it and learn to love it, and that's it. But I didn't see any reason for LG to do it on the G7. Again, they're following a fad and they're following a trend, and it's the wrong trend to follow. It really, really is. Just like wearing tank tops is the wrong trend to follow. Wearing odd socks is the wrong trend to follow. Wearing shorts in bad weather is a bad trend to follow. So is having a notch on your phone when it doesn't need to be there. You don't have to have a full screen display. Nobody, again, I've said this so many times, nobody bloody asked for a full screen edge-to-edge display. I haven't seen anybody say, "Dear Samsung, we want a full screen edge-to-edge display with no bezels whatsoever." Nobody's asked for that feature. We're trying to answer a solution that wasn't a problem in the first place. Or give a solution rather to a problem that was never there in the first place. People are happy with the infinity display on the Samsung Galaxy S9. Okay, the curves are very subjective, but you know, people are happy with the displays that they got. So why was all of a sudden having this boom in this edge-to-edge thing? It's clearly copying Apple. Apple are, you know, one of the biggest smartphone manufacturers in the world, and it's cool to copy them and try and get in, but it wasn't a cool feature to copy in the first place. So, you know, going after that when your company's already in the doldrums as far as mobile phones concerned was not a good move. So okay, I agree with people on that. Putting that notch there was silly, because if you have to add a feature to cover it up, that's admitting that you know your customers aren't going to fully like that. So that's that. But I've heard some people, like one YouTuber said, "Oh, it looks terrible," or words to that effect. No, it doesn't. Get a bloody grip. Be realistic. It doesn't look terrible. If that's the case, then so does the Huawei P20 Pro, so does the OnePlus 6, so does the Huawei P20, so do all the other countless phones which are copying this notch trend. Because if you look at them all face on, you'd probably have to adjust for about 10 seconds to work out which phone was which if they were all displaying the same wallpaper. So it doesn't look terrible. That's just a silly thing to say, and you're just saying it for the sake of it, to try and sound sensationalist. It doesn't look terrible. The back of the phone, you know, there's only so much you can do with the back of the phone. It's very nondescript, but it doesn't look terrible. You know, at the end of the day, the first couple of days with the phone, it's like, oh God, you're right, gorgeous you are. Oh, I love you. But then after that, so the function comes after the form. You know, you've got to have a balance of the both. And I think the LG G7 looks okay to me. It doesn't look like a disaster. It's not a phone I'd be ashamed to be seen out with in public. You know, if you want to see some terrible looking phones, just go visit Alex at Red Skull and go and see some of the shite that he gets sent for review, because there are some really bad looking phones on that channel. And, you know, he does a great job of reviewing the phones so we don't have to. And I really appreciate him for doing that. But again, yes, it's not the best looking phone out there, but it's not a terrible looking phone. Certainly not. So then we move on to this battery thing. So people are getting all worked up over the 3000 mAh battery. Galaxy S9, anyone? That's still got a 3000 mAh battery. And yes, I know it's got an AMOLED screen so it can light individual pixels or switch them off to save battery power. But how do we know that the battery's going to be terrible in the LG G7 just because it's got an LCD display until we've tried it? We may all have to eat humble pie after using it if LG has done some wizardry, probably not, with the power management of the phone and managed to eke all day battery life out of it. But I didn't see anyone jumping up and down and getting all scared on Samsung for putting a 3000 mAh battery in the Galaxy S9, the standard one. There was a couple of grumbles, but nothing like some of the sensationalist bullshit which is coming out of people's mouths about the fact that LG have put it in their phone. Yeah, they've missed the boat. I get it where all of this is coming from, but you don't need to go over the top with it just to get views and likes on your channel, because it doesn't work like that. You've got to be balanced and you've got to be fair. If you want to be a tech reviewer, unless you're Taylosif, who is an unashamed Apple sheep, and that's cool, at least we know where we stand. If you want to give a balanced view, if you want people to take you seriously on your channel, if you're going to cover both sides of the fence, both the Apple and the Android side of things, excuse me, then you've got to have a balanced and fair opinion. And therefore you should use a device before you decide you want to go in both feet first and decide you think it's a load of rubbish. Because I don't think the LG G7's probably that bad. So then we've got this boombox speaker thing. Now, yeah, it sounds pathetic, I know that. But again, the HTC U11 doesn't have stereo sound. Yes, it's got two drivers, one mid-bass speaker. I can't even believe I'm saying mid-bass in the speaker. That's that big. But that's what it is. It is what it is. And then it's got a high-frequency speaker at the top of the phone, so you get kind of a nice spread of sound. But it's not stereo, and that's that. And I get that, you know, some people think, oh, not having stereo speakers on a phone in 2018 is a bad thing. Who said? Well, you just made that up yourself. You've just told us that you think it's a bad thing that we don't have stereo speakers. It doesn't mean it's right. You know, if you ask people what their priority features are on a mobile phone, I can guarantee you probably two of those people, maybe even one, would say stereo speakers. I live with 3 other people. I'm usually with one of those other people at any one time in the house. So stereo speakers, to me, are a complete waste of time. Because the last thing I'm going to do is annoy the shit out of that person with a noisy phone. So that's where the G7 would come into its own when you plug in some headphones. A good quality audio DAC with good audio output then becomes important to me. It's far more important than stereo speakers, which when you turn them up, let's not forget, will drain your battery really, really quickly. The Dolby Atmos sound on the Galaxy S9, Dolby, just me saying Dolby Atmos from 2 speakers, it's bullshit. Dolby Atmos is spatial awareness. The speakers above, to your side, to the rear, to the front, and the center. It's just a marketing gimmick. Yes, it sounds good, but it's not Dolby Atmos. It's not. It's just a spatial sound thing like you used to get years ago on those crappy stereos you used to buy from Curry's. So yeah, so we don't know what the boombox is going to sound like until we hear it. The HTC U11 had a really good speaker. Who's to say this might have a good speaker on its own? We don't know until we've actually heard it. It's very hard to translate sound from something like that on a video across to you, the viewer. So again, we don't know what that's going to be like until we've heard it. But then we've got the cameras. LG, since the G5, remember that stinker of a phone? That still had a good camera. So did the G6, so did the V30, so did the V30S, or whatever it's called. And the G7, from what I've seen on video, looks to have a good camera. Joshua Vergara had a segment of his video where he was walking with the video on, wide angle, no less. Not the Samsung Galaxy S9 can't do wide angle, whereas the LG can. You know, your portrait mode's no use to you when you're trying to record video, is it now? I'm not saying it's a useless feature, but damn, do you see me taking a lot of portrait photos? People like Ben from Lover of Tech, he's a handsome little devil, and you know, it's for people like him, but for me, no thank you. So a wide angle camera becomes useful, and it would be very useful to a lot of other people. When you've used that feature, you realise how good it is. And Gavin Fabiani Raymond, he takes some great photos on his phone. He's a bit of a photo wizard, and he perfectly demonstrated how good the wide angle thing can be with the LG V30 when he'd taken all those pictures back last year and the sort of beginning of this year. So I think that's far more important to most people than a portrait mode, because come off it, you know, how useful would you really find it? It's okay for close-up shots, but then the LG G7 has all of those manual modes. You can get macro shots and things like that. So you don't really need a portrait mode, do you? It's just become a fad to do that. So I applaud them for doing something slightly different. But apart from that, you know, I'm painting this picture to hopefully help some people realise that it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, LG have scored a bit of an own goal by not really doing something killer with the design and, you know, really going all out with the features. It's a high-end product that they're marketing, but it's not really all gelling together to become a great, compelling device. But I just think it might find its way into the pockets of some who value good mobile phone photography and also value good audio from their phones as well, which I'll be honest, the Samsung Galaxy S9 is disappointing in the audio department. The Xiaomi Mi A1 blows it out of the water for audio quality, because the Mi A1 has got a dedicated 10-volt amplifier built into the phone, and it's got a Dirac HD sound digital to analog converter, and it is awesome, absolutely amazing. So again, there's for and against with the LG G7, and I'm going to reserve judgment until I've actually used one. I think some other people should do, because they just waded in with these little rants. Tex said you weren't ranting, you were just giving a balanced opinion. So if you're watching this, dude, I understand where you're coming from. But coming in with a rant about something you haven't even used, then your point is completely invalid. You know, I'm not going to listen to you if that's the case. So there we are. I've had my say now, and I really want the LG G7 to be an okay little phone, but I just wanted to give a sort of balanced view, because I don't support any particular one camp, but I just like technology as a whole. And it just happened to be that my OnePlus 3T, which I'm speaking into now, just happened to be a great phone that I really enjoy using, but it's going to be replaced soon because it's sustained a little bit of damage, and these microphones drive me absolutely crackers. So I need something better to do this car diaries thing with. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed my little balanced view stroke little rant about this, but I just wanted to get my thoughts out there, because I think some people are being a little bit unfair and a little bit over the top. Go watch Tex's video, it's a much more balanced view. So that's me. I'm done for the day. Let's go get some fuel and go home and upload this video, and I will catch you all very, very soon. Have a lovely day, and I'll catch you guys